What is going on, everybody? It's another Three Geeks podcast. Jason, Max, and Mike are back. Today we are joined by reigning Remake Revolution champion Zach Wiseman and comic creator Corissa Grant. How's everybody doing?
Good.
So good.
Doing good.
All right.
I'm
So
super
good.
excited for Mother's Day.
Are you
Okay.
cool? You got plans for tomorrow?
Cool.
No,
Are
I
you doing
just
gifts?
love a good Mother's Day. Who doesn't?
I have
mean-
not heard this before, but okay.
I made my girlfriend a Mother's Day dinner tonight because tomorrow we got to go to her mom's and my mom's, so there will be really no time to like celebrate her as a mother. So we did it. It was fun. I made pork chops and corn on the cob. So it was really good. No peppercorn. It was really good.
No peppercorn.
Peppercorn on the cob.
It's a whole thing.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, check out our YouTube shorts if you want to know about the peppercorn. But anyway, guys, we're back. I posted a video yesterday lamenting that Kendrick Lamar won the beef against Drake. And of course, the internet responded. And first off, asked me how I had such big ears. And I said, well, you know, poor genetics.
Yes,
Oh.
thing called genetics. Like I had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, all the better to hear how Kendrick won.
Exactly. You can't get those bars with tiny ears.
That should have been my retort, Mike. I wish I had you there last night. I was like half asleep when I got it. And I sent
you
it to
you
Matt.
need a ghostwriter like Drake does.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
somebody also sent me the message that said, hold on, that's not that. Drake is winning because of his $400 million deal for the shoe company. And from what I'm hearing, because of Kendrick's allegations, the shoes aren't doing so well. Nobody wants the shoes. And Drake's music is down 5% and Kendrick's is up like 100% on Spotify. So if that's not another like indication that he won,
How is shoe
Kendrick is
sales any
a better
indication
position.
of
I was saying,
is doing?
yep, I was saying the same thing. Like, if Tom Brady just spit bars, does that mean that he's a better rapper because he's won a Super Bowl? Like, that doesn't matter.
And what's funny is none of these people respond to me. If somebody else wrote Kendrick sealed his loss, Drake won. And then my response was, how? Can you please tell me your argument? Because I love discourse. I will not tell you you're wrong flat out, but I will have the back and forth. That's what I want. That's what I want out of YouTube. So just tell me how he won, because it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand.
It's music. It's objective, So I mean, if you feel like Drake won, then yeah, like he can receive the award, thank his team of writers, and we can call it a day. But Kendrick writes his own stuff.
And at the end of the day, they're both rich, so they
Yes.
both won.
Yeah.
So
There is nothing better than diss tracks and like beef, because there's nothing cooler to me than two grown men just writing poetry about how much they don't like each other. I think that's so cool. So who had the better?
That's adorable.
I think Kendrick, but it is super sweet, and I appreciate both of them.
Yeah.
It is
I don't-
the best
I
I've
don't
ever
like- I
heard
don't like
Drake.
that much. Kendrick was better. I'll say it. And if anybody's watching this and they think that Drake won, you're wrong, flat out. Jason will say it. I'll say it. Kendrick is better.
I just like Kendrick more. So
I like Kendrick more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yes.
Drake fan at all. I actually dislike Drake strongly. I'm not a fan of his music, but I will say his diss tracks, at least 1.5 of them, were pretty solid. The one where he used AI, I was not a fan of that. That was awful.
He lost points on that.
Yeah.
I was about to say he
How's
lost 1 on 1.5 by using AI. So
Yeah.
100%.
That's not him. That's just his voice. Yeah. No, I still to this day, in my opinion, the best diss track ever made was Jay-Z on Blueprint when he shouted out Nas. That was the coolest song I've ever heard. And I still listen to that and be like, yo, Nas took an L with that one. I'm sorry.
Well, we are here. Corissa is here to promote her Kickstarter, and I'm going to pull it up right now. So, Corissa, tell us a little bit about this project.
So this is my this is Worthy Chaos. I started it about a year. Or we could just play the video. If you
I'll
want
just play it in the background.
yeah, if you want to play the video, you're welcome to. It's pretty long. It's like 4 minutes. But the first 2 minutes is the most current issues. You can show those if you want to, or you can show the whole thing. What it is, it's 4 minutes.
Let's do it. You're here as a guest. Let's pop it on. There we go.
Okay.
I'm so glad you've made it to issue 10. I think we had you on when we were promoting issue 5. That's awesome.
It was pretty quick.
I like the music too.
This is the second song that was written and performed for our story. And both songs are in the add-ons.
Nice.
Yeah. You get the vocal and the instrumental. Okay.
So
Nice.
it comes with a soundtrack. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have another comic book creator friend that does that. He likes to mix music with his Kickstarters and his books.
Yeah. I don't know. It started as like kind of a joke, but now we're just obsessed with it. So, but yeah. So this is what you're watching now. I think this is issue 8. Because the first one was 10. That's the current one. This is they're showing you issue 8, and the next one will be issue 9, and then I'll start from 1 to 10. And that was my computer. Thanks, but no thanks. My computer wants me to upgrade to 11 so bad.
Just do it. Join us.
One of us.
Okay, but first the computer has to contribute to the Kickstarter in order for the upgrade to go through.
Yeah. When we're done, we'll scroll down. I'll show you the cover. That's the reason why it's doing so well. It did really well on issue 8 too. Every other Kickstarter does well, and I think that's because I do them so often that they just have to save up some money, which is fair because I do them every other month, and most creators, especially new ones, don't do that. So.
And is it the same team that you started off with then? It's been the same core group, or?
So the artist is still the same. The colorist has changed, and we now have a letterer. My artist used to do the lettering, and he was okay at it, but he really didn't know all the rules. So we're actually relettering 1 through 7. So we can catch up. So that one that you just passed, that one, that's by Ivan Tao. For anyone that knows, he's a Marvel artist and absolutely phenomenal. This cover looks amazing in metal, and it's actually selling really well in metal. Yeah, that's the popular cover.
That's cool.
Yeah, and in this issue, we get a new character. It's our chameleon vampire bat, which we call Chatty. So, of course, there's a new plushie for that. So this is the plushie.
Oh, that's so cool.
I think there's one left. But yeah, this was, it's a vampire bat that can change to the environment around it. So it makes it a little bit more terrifying. But yeah. Yeah, I love Chatty. So but we have a lot of merch because I've been called the queen of merch, and I think since the last time, like we have commercially released plushies. We have our zombie mental patient with working straitjacket, and you can get your birthday or any number on the back, so embroidered on the back. So if you have somebody that drives you crazy, they can add their birthday on the back. I'm not saying it's a voodoo doll. I'm just saying you can put the birthday on the back. So we started a 1.5 years ago. It's very Buffy meets Supernatural and Silent Hill and the world of Resident Evil. And it's this series 1 is 44 issues already written. And we're planning to do all of them. This is issue 10, but my artist is currently inking issue 16. So we're a little bit ahead. So everything is pretty much bought. The only thing that I did not order yet is the glow in the dark. There's the first time I'm doing this, it's glow in the dark covers. and a glow in the dark trading card. There's only 10, and I think 7 are left. Super expensive. So I'm making sure that the payments go through before I order these, but everything else is ordered. We have, everything. We have all the covers here. We have all that. So everything gets shipped out within 48 hours or so of the campaign ending. So most people get it within a week. And I've been doing that since the very first one, because my whole goal was to build trust. That I know it's tricky on Kickstarter. I mean, it even says when you go to pledge, you are not guaranteed these rewards, which would terrify me if I was going to do it. So I want people to know that they're definitely going to get their issues. You're going to get the whole series. Whether I lose my house doing it or not, I don't know, but hopefully not. But if I'm on here in a year and it's a different background, like the library, you know that I lost my house doing it. So totally worth it. Obviously I love this series, and my artist is amazing, and he keeps getting better as he goes. I mean, I think around like issue 5, he had never worked in comics before, Jonas DaCosta. So we kind of learned together. Around issue 5, he actually started going to school, and his techniques improved, and it just looks even more phenomenal. And the new colorist we have is Matt Chambers. He did an amazing job. And the letterer SK definitely upped the ante on the lettering. So now he's actually going back to do issues 1 through 7. So he's in the middle of lettering issue 1 again. So, hello.
Nice. What's up, Wilkie? Thanks for the comment, buddy. What's up, Digital Express Media? How you doing, buddy? Go check him out on Whatnot, guys. Good friend of mine. So the last time you were on, Chris, I believe that you told us that you hadn't done a whole lot of these podcasts, and now I see you like on every week, which is, it's tremendous. It's awesome. And my question to you is, and I asked a couple comic book writers this last week, how do you go about finding your artist? Like you said, you found somebody who was new to the comic book sphere. Like, how do you go about that process?
So I started on Reddit, looking on Reddit. And then I joined all the Facebook groups. And for anyone that doesn't know, I did lose my first artist. I lost $5,000 on, they stole $3,000. We tried to fix it. And I didn't like it. I didn't think it was worthy enough, and had this artist redo it. But for him, because I had lost the $5,000, I kind of was like not in the best headspace. So I was just grumpy as all. So I had posted on a Facebook group that the writers matching with artists kind of thing. And I said, I'm trying to find an artist. This is what I want it to look like. I have 44 issues written. If you want, I just spent $5,000. If you want to do a free page, and I'll look them over, and if you get selected, I'll pay you for it, and then we'll go through. You'll have 44 issues to do. I actually got like 5 submissions, and I didn't realize it was like a choosing beggar thing at the time. I was just so mad. I was like, I don't care. And I had some people before I even asked. I had posted a couple of chapters, and I had somebody just randomly send me 5 pretty good pages, first 5 pages, and I hadn't asked them. They hadn't told me. And they wanted to do it, but they wouldn't let me pay them, and I didn't want to give up any rights. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. But so I had 5 people doing a page, and then my artist came, and Jonas, and he's like, are you taking any more submissions? I was like, well, they're free, so I'll take as many as I'll get. I said, so you have 2 options. I'll either look, you could do it for free now and I'll look at it, or you can wait till these 5 are done and then I'll pay you for a page. But in all honesty, it sounds awful. I didn't like his art, because he was a portrait artist. So everything was like super realistic. And I was like, I don't want realistic. That's not what I'm looking for. But I was going to give him a chance, and it was, so he's like, no, I'll do a free page. 24 hours later, it was pencil inked, colored, and lettered, like 6 panels. And the characters looked identical to what they were in my head. And I was like, yeah, you're hired. So like, I paid everyone else to go away, and I hired him. And then we fought constantly for the first issue we did together. And it wasn't him. So don't hire him because you think he's difficult. It was totally me. But I had a script, and from the other 2 artists I had worked with, I expected him to just follow the script, panel 1's panel 1. Fortunately for me, he didn't listen to me, and we kept arguing because I had like on average 6 to 8 panels, but he's into the action, so he like would draw more panels. So we had a fight all the time. My husband's telling me I need a new artist. Like, no, he's the artist. I have to figure this out. So finally I was like, you know what, for the future issues, I'm just going to backtrack it. Originally what I said was, you can do as many panels as you want if they're free. I'm going to pay you for these pages. And then, but I could tell that he is not as happy because he wants to do panel work. He wants to do his own thing. So I cut it back to 4 to 5 panels, and then he turns it into like 8 to 9 or whatever. And it worked out so much better on the second issue that we worked together, that it was just phenomenal. And then it was like, he's like, I know these characters, and I love the story, and from then it's been smooth sailing. So it went really well. Actually, it's kind of funny because he'll go on like vacation. He just came back from vacation for 3 weeks. We were like dying without pages, and like halfway through the vacation, he's just like, I miss drawing the book. I miss drawing the story. I was like, me too. He cracked me up. So he had school, and it was from like, I think Thursday to like Monday or something. So he only drew, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he wrote to me, and he goes, and he doesn't get paid. He gets paid all at once. So it really doesn't matter how fast he goes. So he wrote to me, he goes, I don't want that much time between drawing. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm switching my schedule so that it's every other day, so I don't have a long weekend. I was like, really? Because I love long weekends. But he's like, no, it's too long between drawing the story. And I was like, okay. And I'm fine with that because I have obviously an intense obsession with the story. So when I go a day without pages, it's like having, crack withdrawal or something.
Yeah.
I know what that's like. Don't put that up there. But how I pictured crack withdrawal to be.
Yeah.
But he usually does like 3 pages a day. So
Nice.
And I love it. He missed it yesterday. And at 1:00, I said, is there no pages today? Because Friday is the day. And he's like, I knew you were going to ask me. He's like, I'll send them tomorrow. I was like, you're killing me. So I sent them this morning, and they were awesome as usual. So now we're in the, because, and you're not supposed to have favorites. I have absolute favorites. All my issues I love, but issues 14 through 22nd until 22 is my original story that I wrote. It's like the homage to Resident Evil 2. It's zombies, you're in an infested city, and all that stuff. I originally wrote that before I met my co-writer. We obviously rewrote it. But that was my love story that I wrote for 17 years. So I really appreciated that. And so now that he's drawing it, it's like I get even super excited. So he went away for 3 weeks during my favorite issues. I was like, really? But yeah, so he's on 16. I'm loving all the zombie stuff, and it's so great. And for anyone that doesn't know, the story is actually written. Me and my co-writer wrote it during roleplay, which now I say it like that makes it sound really kinky, but it was not during that kind of roleplay.
Yeah, we don't kink shame on the podcast. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Wherever inspiration comes from.
Yeah, that was when it was. But no, so we wrote the story during 3 years of roleplay. And the reason why it makes our story a little bit more unique is I wrote all of Seraphina's lines, and my co-writer Jess wrote all of Draven's lines. So when you're reading them, they're these completely different personalities, and you can tell who's who because Seraphina talks nonstop and barely thinks, and Draven thinks and barely talks. So you can figure out which one's which. But it gives it that unique spin to it, So I like that about the story. But yeah, it's definitely an action-packed story with a lot of cursing. So if you don't like cursing or action or fast-paced, especially the first 2 issues, like I got some creator read them like right before, and he's like, yeah, it was too fast-paced for me. And I was like, did you make it past the 2nd issue? Because it's called Worthy Chaos. You cannot blame me for any chaotic stuff that's going on. But yes, the first 2 are very yeah. So the first 2 issues are very, very chaotic, and then it doesn't really slow down per se. It more like balances out. But yeah, my mom's review of it, which still cracks me up to this day, she goes, I finally read your story, and besides all the F words, it was really good. So, thanks, Mom.
That's what my mom would say. That's what she says about my podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, no, my mom would probably get through like 3 or 4 and then just be like, why did you make me read this? I love you, but why did you make me read this?
I'm surprised she even read it. She doesn't like comics. She doesn't like horror. Like there's no reason for her to read at least I think she only read the first one. But she every single campaign she buys or donates or whatever. For some reason, she bought my zombie plushie. She thought it was adorable. And I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, he's cute.
She didn't put your birthday on the back of that, did she?
No, she put her own. I was like, which birthday are you putting back there? She's like, my own. I was like, yeah, that's fitting. So,
Awesome.
But yeah.
Thank you, Corissa. Everybody, the link to the Kickstarter is down below. We'll ask Corissa questions throughout the episode. But the reason I thought to ask Zach to join me today is because I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it's my favorite movie of the year. And Zach commented on my post, so I knew I'd have at least one other person that saw it. So I'm like, Zach, you got to join me. This movie is phenomenal. Like, oh my God, the acting, the writing, the story, the cinematography. It's the first Planet of the Apes movie, since the originals, but of the 4 new ones, that I've actually liked the human character, because I did not like James Franco like at all in the original. And
it's okay to not like James Franco.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, rest in peace. Like, who knows what's going on with him? But he doesn't exist. I don't care.
One of the things that really, I think one of the things that I connected with the story, and it's not a spoiler because it happens at the beginning. The movie starts with Caesar's funeral, who was the lead in the last story, and then it says many decades later. That's when this story takes place. And there is a character in this movie that is twisting everything Caesar stood for to make it fit his own needs. Playing on the Christianity of the world today, where it's like, Caesar meant all this stuff, but you find out, no, Caesar was about peace and love and getting apes getting along with humans and everything. And this guy is like twisted it and twisted it and twisted it to become, this powerful ape. And I really connected with the story. I loved the 2 leads. And I asked Zach if there's this weird thing to say, because one is an ape and one is a human, but I like the chemistry between the 2 characters. It was so good. Good. I kept looking over at Tony because it's kind of how I gauge movies. Like,
he only looks like an ape. Like it wasn't a person doing the acting.
That's another thing, man. The way these guys act with their eyes is so. I mean, I guess Andy Serkis consulted with a lot of them on this movie, and you could really tell. But Zach, what were your thoughts of Kingdom?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. Like, before this movie, I've watched all the old ape movies, and they're fine. Like, they're good. There's really cool lore in them, and like, it's one of the first depictions of multiverse that I can remember was I think in the 3rd ape movie, which is like 1972. We're like, oh, it's a multiverse. If you go into space, who knows what's going on? But before seeing this, I rewatched the last trilogy, and I just remembered that trilogy, to me, is like the second best trilogy that I've seen, at least in modern times. And I even put a post out there that the last trilogy, to me, is better than the original Star Wars trilogy. I think and I'll fight. I'll fight it with anybody.
James Franco.
Okay, listen, Ewoks. But no, I mean, not James Franco. He's an absolute turd.
He dies at the end of the first one, so that's a positive too.
I guess that's true.
He dies off screen in between the 2, which makes it even better for that guy. But watching Caesar's his version of the hero's journey, I thought was beautiful. Watching Andy Serkis just inhabit this creature, but also give it humanity, which I think was the perfect way of doing this, because that's what this is. It's apes that are learning humanity. It's consciousness and understanding that the world is bigger than just the forest that they live in or the cage they live in. Watching this, immediately I was caught with how beautiful the scope was. Like, whenever you see a picture, it is so vast, and that opening thing, and it's just the very beginning of Where to Looking for Eggs, whatever. It's gorgeous landscaping. And Noah was such a I don't remember the person's name who played Noah, but I had to look them up as soon as I got out of the movie, because I was like, I've not seen better teary, watery eye work since Andy Serkis did it in War. And I thought everything about this movie. Now, It is not the most memorable of movies. It is a beautiful movie, though. I think that I don't think that the journey that Noah takes is as impactful as Caesar's journey, but the fact that they took everything that Caesar did and then warped it for their own purpose, like the orangutans, they really wanted the peaceful, beautiful version of Caesar that was, apes together are strong. But then you have Proximus, who remembers that Caesar also is a warmonger. He fought for the things that he believed in. He fought for his family, and he fought. So to see this movie take something that we know as fact, right? We saw Caesar's rise. We saw the war. And then generations later, how they're like, Caesar's like this Christ figure. And I'm like, wow, what a really interesting thing to do with that movie. Like, what would happen if apes, that had sentience could remember the first ape, like that seems so cool. And that was the most interesting thing to me. When you watch the second war movie, I think, or the second of the Rise trilogy, I think that the humans are good. They're good. And Gary Oldman's character was great when he turns that tablet on and he sees his family. Like, I broke too. And then in the third one, I think Woody Harrelson was phenomenal. And that was a lesson that Caesar had to learn, was that, guess what, dude? You cannot live together. I'm sorry. Humans are terrible. And I can't remember a movie that I watched that I had to really consider my place on this planet. Most movies you hear, like, hey, humans get knocked down, they get back up. Everybody's a fight. Everything's a football game. When you get knocked down, you knock the dirt off and you get back up, because that's what humans do. But what if we're not supposed to? What if we're not the right thing to take over? And I thought that was some really cool things that this movie really stuck with me. And I absolutely loved everything. The pacing was great. I forgot it was a 2.5-hour movie. I was just going
to ask you. I heard it was long.
I didn't feel it. Could not, not to lie, I could not feel the length of that. I left there going like, oh man, that was amazing. And me and my wife saw it, and we always chat about how she feels and her point of view. And yeah, between Noah, Raka might be one of my favorite things on screen that I've seen this year. Raka was so brilliantly funny and so impactful when it comes to what Noah needed to do, not what he wanted to do, what he needed to do. And I cannot rave about this movie enough. I absolutely
Noah was played by Owen Teague.
Yeah, he's like knockoff Elvis Butler, right?
yeah. He's I'm looking through his IMDb. He's got a handful of films that I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, he looks like Austin Butler, the guy from Dune and Elvis. Yeah, he looks just like that guy. His eyes are perfect. Like that. Noah had to do an amazing feat, and to I don't want to give any of the movie away, but Jason, like what he has to suffer in the beginning, the reasons he suffers it, the fact that he knows that rules, they're law. That's it. If there's a rule, it's a law. Go by it. But then he learns that maybe not all rules are law. Maybe he has to break the rules. Maybe he's got to go against the person making the laws. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, there's the ending of this movie could have gone the more stereotypical route, and in my opinion, it did not.
Yep.
And I really like that as well. This movie wasn't about a quest for power. This movie was just about bringing family back together, and it really stuck the landing on that theme. And I cannot stress enough. I was shocked at how much I loved it. I was shocked how much Tony loved this. I thought he'd be bored as we were watching it, because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Like, it's not a short movie, and you throw trailers on top of that. Like, it's long, but it doesn't feel long. Like, I thought we still had another hour to go. I was in for the ride. I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah.
I am stoked. I'm really glad that Disney stuck the landing on this. And
I think there's supposed to be 9 of them or something.
Yeah, they just announced that, which is another thing that I'm kudos to, because I guess when they planned Rise, they planned 9 movies, but the 9 movie thing didn't come out until they hit 4. DC, pay attention to that. Their plan didn't come out until they hit 4.
Yeah.
Same thing Marvel did, but I'm in for the ride, because like Zach, I like the original Planet of the Apes movies. I'm not going to argue that it's the greatest cinema of all time. It's definitely a sci-fi niche. Maybe the first one, it's got that twist at the end. If you don't know it, it's a fun little twist. But yeah, I've been shocked with this franchise on how much I enjoy it. It's just fun to see apes on horses.
And it's really interesting how they can make this movie. And if you are a fan of the Apes, you don't have to be, but if you are a fan of the Apes series, you're like, wait a minute, is this right before the very first? Like, what's happening here? I thought it was perfect. And if you stayed till the end of the credits, did you see the end? Did you?
There's a post-credit scene.
There's post-credit stuff. There's post-credit stuff.
Kind of expected at this point.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I will say that one of my favorite characters of the movie was still there at the end, and I was very excited about that. But no, I dig the movie, and I'm glad that movies have characters that are making choices, that are dealing with consequences. Like Noah makes mistakes, and he has to suffer for that, and that's something that, like, for the last couple of years, nobody makes errors that they have to deal with consequences. They just keep going, and it's like, oh, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this happens, and there is no, well, that wasn't right, you know. And now, like, we're seeing a lot of movies recently where these characters are making choices and dealing with the consequences, and I absolutely love that. I think that's great. Like, why content? You know,
it's been, I really dug the return of sci-fi, like with Civil War, Dune, and this, for example, all parallel to things happening in the world, which is what sci-fi started out of. Guys, I recommend this movie. If you guys are out there, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. It's great. It's fantastic. It's close to a 5 out of 5. Yeah. Let me see it a couple more times, and I might go there. But like I said, I really, really, really liked it.
Yeah,
but
I understand the ending a lot, but I just felt that as far as if I had to nitpick, I think the ending was a little bit rushed. It obviously wasn't what I expected, which I'm totally fine with. I just feel that, like, the first part is amazing. The middle chunk is phenomenal. The ending kind of like whipped along pretty quickly, and maybe that's why I didn't feel the 2:45.
Let's say 2 hours and 45 minutes later, he's like, the ending was too quick. I'm like, the movie's gonna be 3 hours and 15 minutes.
It has been a long time since I watched a movie and did not look at my watch and be like, God, there's still an hour.
That's my indication of how long it is how many times I look at my watch and how much I like it.
This movie did not look at my clock once. I was in it. I was in it, and then and the actor that plays Proxima, I think he was the Blob in X-Men, if I'm correct. That guy was.
Oh yeah, Kevin Durant or something, right? Yeah.
That's all I've ever seen him in. He's just Blob in X-Men.
He was in Abigail too. This guy's having a hell of a year. I didn't realize that was him. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a wonderful day. Like that, beautiful acting. And I like a bad guy that you can kind of understand where they're coming from. It's like a Thanos style. We're like, you're not wrong. You got to be aimed correctly. You know,
you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like all of Jason's YouTube comments. You're not wrong. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. That's cool. I've never been super into the Apes movies. I guess I got to go check this one out if this is the pinnacle of ape movies.
And I was doing a lot of like contemplation on why the ape movies are not bigger or more respected or not a bigger thing in our pantheon. And I genuinely think it's because it's one of the few movies that humans aren't supposed to win this thing. You know, like humans
and Mark Wahlberg.
And Mark Wahlberg and James Franco. Rest in peace, James Franco. God, I hope you're dead.
Dude, Zach, you just became Max's favorite guest of all time. Max about Franco hate.
You just the tear just went.
Yeah, Franco gave us a reason to hate him, and then you just came on here and said that. You
Man,
just
after
won
my
Max's
own heart.
Seriously,
you might get a Valentine's Day gift from Max next year.
Oh, he's getting a Mother's Day gift for sure.
Rest in peace. I hate that man. But yeah, whatever.
Really?
There's some stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff for sure.
100%. No,
we find out that James Franco used to bully Zach in elementary school or something.
And I'm getting back at him right now. You're dead to me. Yeah, I think it's an interesting movie to watch where we're not supposed to be the ones that we're rooting for. And I think that people have a hard time with that enough that it's like, well, I can't make that my favorite movie because of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, which is totally fine. I love those movies. They're amazing. The arc that Caesar takes in the Rise trilogy, I think, is a better arc than the majority. Like, it's a better Luke Skywalker arc. It's a better hero's journey arc than the majority of things, except for Frodo. Yeah, I love these movies. I've seen the new one 3 times now. Once legally, but yeah, I really enjoy it. I thought it was great.
I want to see it.
I'm really
again.
glad you wrote that too, because no one talks about 8 movies. And I saw your post. I'm like, hell yeah, that's exactly right.
We did our top 5 franchises, and I chose Planet of the Apes, the Caesar trilogy, as my 3rd or 2nd. I can't remember. But so great movie, guys. Go check it out. Real quick before we get into our top 5 video games from our personal favorite consoles. X-Men 97, we got the second to last episode, and this show just blows my mind every week. Carissa, if you haven't watched it, highly recommend it. In my opinion, it's the best show on television this year so far.
Yeah.
And the final moments in the last episode, I was, as a comic book fan, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
As a fan of said character, I'm like, oh.
It's become kind of like the Saturday morning equivalent of Game of Thrones in terms of appointment viewing. Like, everyone's watching it.
I don't
the
have
day it
Disney,
comes
so
in.
I don't get to watch it.
I'll send you a link.
There are ways.
The original X-Men cartoon was one of my
legal way
favorites.
to watch it.
Yeah, and they did a beautiful thing with this where they're taking old panels of the original cartoon and stamping it with modern stuff. I think that what they're doing with storytelling. What's up, Crusher? What they're doing with storytelling in that is great. I mean, I wish that they would like pull some of that out a little bit, because these are some pretty heavy storylines that, you know, took 15 to 20 episodes to get through, and they're kind of knocking those things out. But I think the problem is there's so much content that when a creator gets a chance to do something like this, they have to give it their all quickly, because you don't know if the next season's coming.
I mean, season 3 got greenlit. Season 2's almost, is in production, so they've got a trajectory. And this second to last episode, I'm like, I think I have an idea based on my 90s knowledge of X-Men stuff. I'm like, okay, we can see where this is going to go now.
My friend Cam told me today, he's like, I have a good idea who the villain of season 2 is.
Yeah.
I'm 100% about, like, hey, like, they give you the green light, shoot your shot. Like
100%.
Don't leave anything on the floor. Don't leave anything behind, because I mean, like you're saying, like, you don't know when you're gonna get another one. And I mean, like, since they're doing so well, like, yeah, hopefully, you know, it's not like, oh, they've churned through all the good stuff and then, like, now we just kind of have like all the B-roll
wheel spinning.
Yeah. But I have not seen, I think I'm like 2 episodes behind right now. But I mean, just like, there's so many good, like, it takes you right back to 97 X-Men in, you know, like the storytelling and the art, but then also like the scene where Wolverine is flying through the air and just like messing up all those Sentinels, like, just looks so good. Like the animation, you know, like they the animation for those big action sequences. It's so good. It's so good, Carissa. Yeah, you have to find a totally legal way to watch.
There be bays out there you can find.
I was really excited, because I think that for the first time, like, you know, since early Marvel, they're giving us characters again that have depth and have emotion, that are dealing with consequences. Like, they're making choices and they have to deal with it. And I think that a lot of comic book stuff kind of just glazed over that for spectacle purposes. And now we're getting into people with just broken hearts and the bad decisions they have to make. Now, I was excited because I was thinking that this is so popular right now that they're going to take this team and hopefully transition that team to live action X-Men, because that's what we need. But no, apparently today I read that Feige got a new team of people for X-Men and is not taking.
I am totally fine with X-Men 97 just being its own separate thing.
I am. Like, did you hear that?
Don't multiverse whatever connect this to what the movies are doing. Just let it be its own thing.
Well, technically, it was always part of the multiverse, but Feige's
technically everything canon.
I
didn't mean whatever.
Feige said it's not going to connect, but
good.
The director that Marvel wants is Ryan Coogler to do X-Men, and that is a fantastic pick in my opinion. I absolutely love that man. So
I just want somebody who cares. You know,
that's it.
I just want someone, you know, if they got a new team, I just want them to care. That's it. I mean, like, if I'm doing a Worthy Chaos animation, I'm gonna get Carissa in there. You know, like that's the that's what you need to do.
I think Charles
dream,
leaving the
man.
way he did. I can see Rogue and Magneto being so angry because they
Mhm.
believed in a way abandoned them.
Spoiler.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Oh shit.
But remember, Max is 2 episodes behind,
That's right.
Well, no, it's all good. It's all
and
good.
Carissa hasn't even seen it yet. So
Yeah.
let's be
But yeah, no,
wary.
I don't mean like take these exact characters and push it over. I meant someone that has the absolute love of characters, the understanding. Like if you put Storm on screen at all and she's not giving you like a monologue about weather, you're doing it wrong. Like that's it. She needs to come in and blast her voice and blast everything and 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 I love the fact that they took the time to understand these characters, and that's what I love, and it's a great show. Great.
Yeah. I've been loving it for actually, honestly, I love that halfway through the run of this show. Well, not even halfway, like after the first episode. First episode's kind of like, okay, catching you up. It's got that familiar Saturday morning Fox Kids feel to it a little bit, but just with a bit more edge. And then after that, like they're like, nope, we're gonna start being really, really dark now.
Yeah.
And
I said this before. I love that the X-Men 97 grew up with us. So it's now made for the 40-year-olds, not the kids we were when it came out. So,
but it could still be for the kids too.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But again, kudos.
Except for Magneto's giant M.
No, love it.
I just
Awesome.
never pegged
Love
Magneto as a dude to put an M on his own chest. Like I'm like, come on, like I hate it.
He was
He's trying to
put
make himself
Xavier-
look like a superhero. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. He wanted to be good, and in
He's
the
trying
comics,
to play Charles's game.
yeah,
Well,
in the
I'm
comics,
like-
he was
like,
good for like 100 episodes. So like,
I'm
you know.
not, like I'm not. I love the arc. The only thing I can't stand is his stupid character design. Like
Oh,
that's
dude,
the
I
only
love
thing
it.
that bothers me.
I love
Like,
it.
I guess
yeah,
I'm alone on an island here.
nah, you're cool. I mean, I would like it more if he wasn't wearing a shirt at all because that guy's got
That
the
dude is
bod,
ripped. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm down for that. Like, why
Max,
not?
I'm not saying you're wrong, Max, but you're wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I just-
All right,
I just
so,
never pegged
we're gonna
Magneto as
be-
a giant M guy.
We're going to be saying what our favorite game consoles are, and then we're going to go around and list our 5 favorite games from said consoles. Well, we're going to go. Let's do our favorite consoles first. What console did you choose for this, Carissa?
PS1.
Nice.
Sick.
It's an underdog. A lot of people forget about the PS1, but it had some good stuff on it.
It's the graphics. I think it was in that weird time where.
Hey, I started in Atari. The graphics were amazing. Shut up.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but I'm just saying, like once you hit PS2, the graphics really start coming along. But like when you go back to playing PS2 games, it's still like okay versus PS1 and my favorite.
I'm actually gonna go play my PS1s on my PS2 after this. So
Yeah, hey, no, do it to it. No, I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like that console is in a weird era. It's like 90s.
Yeah.
Like CG is not great. They're just kind of figuring it out.
I disagree.
What'd you pick, Zach?
I was going to be clever and find something that I really played a lot when I was a kid, or like come up with something that maybe no one had heard of. But I really can't fake this thing. Like I love the N64. I still play the N64.
My God!
Like the N64 to me was pinnacle video games. It was the best thing. And after that, it got a little too real for me. Like I played, but the cool thing about it is in 1996 or 7, I worked at Blockbuster Video, and that's when they had like you had to rent these systems out. So I was one of like my area, which was Delaware. I was one of the first people to play a PS1, and I can remember looking at the thing and being like, "Whoa, there's discs."
I never played it.
And yeah, and like I rent $300. I had to put a deposit down to rent this machine and take it home and plug it in. PS1 was great, but N64 is where it's at, baby. That's it. I'm sorry, that's the right answer.
N64, I have the same feelings as Max, unless it's Mario or Zelda or GoldenEye. All the games I have the same. What Max has for the PS1 with a lot of those games as well, because it's still in that weird era.
Nope.
But
I don't have anything for the PS1. I'm just saying, like, that's why you're saying it's underrated. I was agreeing with you because of where it came from. I was like, I don't have anything for a PS1.
Yep.
I'm just agreeing with you. Like I think the 64 fits in that era as well.
Harvest Moon, baby. Yeah, 64 is that's my game.
Mine is the NES. It is I still love that game. I could play any game on that system and be completely happy. This list was very hard for me to make, and I'm still not 100% convinced that I'm happy with it. I could have had a lot of three-way ties all the way down, but I didn't. What about you, Max? What'd you pick?
No, N64. It's for obvious reasons. If you followed our podcast or seen us at a convention at all, you know that I'll be there playing Mario Kart on the N64, and I don't lose. So it's
twice. You lost twice, right? Out of like 300 games.
Maybe it might have happened. Maybe like who can even say? I don't remember losing at all, but maybe it happened. I don't want to say you're wrong, but you're probably wrong.
I remember Max and I had a racket going, man. I would convince people to play Max $1. You win a prize if you beat Max. Nobody beat Max, and I was convincing guys that you don't want your girlfriend to see you lose, man. Why don't you go play real quick? Show her that you can beat Max. It was fantastic. But what'd you choose, Mike?
Well, I was gonna be kind of clever and say like my Xbox One and my PS4, but then I'm also like all the titles I would choose from, like for a majority of them, you could share between the two consoles. So I'm like, no, let's go with a console that I used to own. And I don't play the games anymore because I don't own this console, or it's in storage somewhere and I haven't played it in probably a decade and a half. But the Sega Dreamcast.
Nice. Damn, good job.
And I was just reminiscing about like the games that like really got my attention back then in like the late 90s, early 2000s with that
the Dreamcast
system.
Was ahead of its time. It was better than the PS2 and the Xbox, in my opinion. It's
Casualty.
just Americans didn't support it.
Yep.
And Japan
Casualty of war.
Didn't have a DVD player. That's why it popped out.
Weird controller though.
Copyright protection, because that's right when the internet hit, and you could like I knew 7 people with Dreamcasts. I knew 0 people who purchased a Dreamcast game.
Yeah.
But no, great console. Great console.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's get into it. Carissa, what's your number 5?
It was very hard to choose, but I'm gonna go with the Soul Reaver, the Legacy of Kain or whatever. I played that like nonstop, so and they haven't ruined it in a movie yet, so wait.
But you know what though, the video game crossovers are getting a lot better. There's been like a few solid video game crossovers, so now might be the time.
Right? I'm ready.
That's a good pick. Krista, thanks for reminding me. The guy who did Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the guy adapting Zelda for live action. So I got a whole bunch more confidence.
So is it actually happening, the Zelda thing? Because I've been tricked like several times over the last
It is.
years.
Nintendo had a huge success with Mario. They're going.
Good.
What about you, Zach? What's your number 5?
Oh, I have roughly 30 in my top 5. What I had to pick was one of the games that I would go to like school. I would think about playing this game, and I would get home and I had to play this game. I'm going to go with Doom 64 for my number 5. That game was so cool. I remember playing Doom on a computer, and then when I hit the console, that's when the 64 was like lighting my life up. And Doom 64 was very cool for me then. So that is my favorite 64 game.
Dude, Doom, me and my buddy Amit, we would wake up at 6:30 in the morning before middle school. We would log on to the internet, and you know how long that took back in the mid-90s. Yeah. And then we would get kicked off, and we would log on. It would take us like 45 minutes to get logged on. We'd play Doom for like 5 minutes before we had to go to school, like every day. Doom was solid.
Yeah.
Solid. Good pick. My number 5 for the NES is Friday the 13th. I sucked at this as a child. I still liked it. I'm much better now. I know how to dodge and duck and weave, and I still play it. I can pop this game in and just play for a little while, and I'm satisfied. But yeah, Friday the 13th. It's one of my favorite horror video games in general. And anytime that I see somebody cosplay as Jason from the NES, like kudos to you, because that is just fantastic.
That's the one with the green mask and the purple bodysuit, right?
Yeah. Sega Genesis would be my console. That was the first console that I really got to learn and play games on. Ex-boyfriend, new girlfriend stole it and threw it away back. Oh, that's sad. But you were one of those. Just kidding. Sega Genesis was a good console. I rented that from Blockbuster to play off of Zach's story earlier. Rented it a few times from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Oh God, dude, your ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. Still.
I know. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I just want to fight them.
Right? Like, I feel for you. Okay,
Oh,
like my heart is with you. That's awful. That's so horrible.
Got another James Franco here. They're dead to me now.
Yeah. Those people suck. But my number 5. You know what? Though you can get a Genesis for cheap. You should get back into it. If you still have the games, you're halfway there. But my number 5 is Wayne Gretzky's NHL 98 specifically.
Nice.
You can it's sort of like NFL Blitz. Where you like there's like a lot of fighting, like a turbo pushing and the checks and everything. I'm kind of different with my video games. Zach has 30 games that almost made his like top 5. Like I only play like 5 to 7 games on any console, but I just play the crap out of them. So me and like the N64 was prime time for me and my little brother, and Wayne Gretzky 98. We would play this. Actually, I think we borrowed this game from our neighbor, and then it ended up being ours. Like it's that's how much we played it. But yeah, no, Wayne Gretzky 98, great hockey game. Just a good time.
Was that about part of the 90s barter system where you would trade games? Like you got the Gretzky and you let them borrow something else? Because I did that a lot with the NES stuff.
Yeah, he got our Star Fox because he was an only child, and we we obviously needed 2-player games. So it's like, yeah, we let him borrow the Star Fox all day and night.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
My number 5 would be Seaman. It was basically the equivalent of getting sea monkeys in digital form and watching them grow and fail to grow. Because yeah, you could like voice command it because the Dreamcast had like that, microphone and stuff, or the headset or whatever. And you like, I tried to bring a Seaman into this world, and that horrific thing just wouldn't develop. So, but that frustration and that patience with that frustration, I feel paved the way for further adult challenges in life. So
nice game. Yeah, I used to have a Retron 5 as well, Crusher. Jesse. What about you, Corissa? What is your number 4?
Dragoon. I love that game.
Okay.
I played that game all the time, and that's actually the one I'm gonna go play when we get done here because it worked with PS2. But I played it so many times, and I always chose the same character, so I didn't even like try the other 20 that were available, whatever the hell was available. But yeah,
like this is good for me. This is
I
wonderful.
get it.
We're just gonna keep it here.
I get it.
That's how I was with like Mortal Kombat. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna beat the game with everybody, and then I try somebody that wasn't Liu Kang, and then like 2 matches in, like, fuck this. I'm going back to being Liu Kang because I suck with everybody else. I want to win.
Yep.
Why didn't Scorpion still kick
when you have Liu Kang?
What about you, Zach?
Number 4, I'm gonna say is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Okay.
Dude, I remember like loving Phantom Menace so much when it first came out, not being jaded by the internet, but being able to just hop behind those pods and go at it. And I remember at the time I had like just successfully hooked up like a surround sound system. So I was getting the, all behind me and everything. It was one of my favorite racing games. And I would play it right now if I wasn't on this show.
I would play you in Episode 1 Racer.
I'll beat you in it. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty good hand at a racing games.
I'm not doubting that.
We're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to play Episode 1 Racer at some point in time. Absolutely.
100%.
All right, my number 4 is Tiny Toon Adventures for the NES. It is just, it is arguably one of the best platformers, and it is just, it's a blast. It's a blast. Play it while you watch Tiny Toons, How I Spent My Summer Vacation, the movie they made that was direct to DVD or VHS. And yeah, great game.
My number 4 is, let me consult the list here, Diddy Kong Racing. Underrated racing game, just because like there's 3 different crafts you could race on. Just a lot of fun. Not the best game, but still just a bunch of fun.
Nice.
All right, my number 4 was Spawn in the Demon's Hand. That was my golden eye.
Oh, wow, what a great game.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It was a bad game, but I remember just like grinding away at it because you had to unlock characters one at a time and just go through the same campaign over and over with different characters in order to unlock more. And I did get everybody eventually, so I was big into Spawn at that time.
Yeah, I love Spawn anything. Like that game, I was just shocked at the fact there was a game. Because I thought Spawn was that comic that like I knew about, nobody else knew about for some reason. Even though
edgy underground,
everything. Yeah, it was like R-rated comics. I'm into this. With that, I think that was a cool game. Not great.
Oh, it was fun, but then at the time I was being like, man, this camera is wonky. But so is GoldenEye's camera at times. So.
Yeah, at times.
All right, what about you, Chris? So number 3.
3 is Silent Hill.
That's a good one. Very good one.
I played that I think that was the first game to truly make me jump. Mm-hmm. So, because I was playing Resident Evil a lot, but Silent Hill made me jump. The music was creepy, characters were creepy, the story was creepy, everything about it was creepy. And considering it's a huge aspect of my story, it had quite an impact. And it squeaked when you stepped on the monster, so it's all good. Can't really beat that.
Do you still have like your copy of Silent Hill?
I got them all. Oh yeah. I have every game I've ever played. I even have the cheat books, whether I use them or not. I have some not even opened, but I had to buy them.
That's like $150 game. Yeah. That's great. That's super dope. That's super awesome.
It's so funny. I remember Silent Hill was the very first game that I remember having to turn the lights on to play it because it was just too scary. Like when that siren would go off, I'm like, oh, come on, man! Like
the siren, it's just your heart completely stops, and then you're walking on the metal grate, and all you hear is this metal, and then you know something's coming, and the music changes, and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? Yeah. Like it is like torture, and then you can go anywhere in the map, and you're just like, "What the?"
No, I can't play that game.
It's too scary. It's just too scary.
I don't do horror. I'm never ever going to play the Silent Hill game. Like kudos to them. Like you did a good job because I'm never going to play that game.
Yeah. So scary.
It's terrifying.
Zach, what's your number 3?
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw GoldenEye out there, and I know that most people would say this is like a number 1, number 2. This game was the first multiplayer game that I can remember playing. I think a lot of people did, but I had to get a bigger tube TV, a 36-inch tube TV thing because the 4 quadrant were just not big enough for me and my friends. I've never had a game. I don't even think since then I've had a game that I've had that many tournaments, that many exciting things, that many people have their favorite level, favorite this, your facility with
no odd job.
No odd job. Facility and pistols only or whatever. That game was just so cool. And when you find out that that the multiplayer aspect was a last minute addition to that game that wasn't even supposed to be what the game was, that just makes it that much better because that game is just cool. Like the River campaign, cool. But that multiplayer just for some reason hit me at the right time. So yeah, GoldenEye 007.
I hate that game. And only because I suck and my brother was so good. And we would play and when I got to 3 kills, that's when we would change games. But accumulatively, this we play 9-10 games. I wouldn't get to 3 kills. It was torture. It was torture.
I was never really good at it either, but I'll never forget high school. We had a high school speech class and stuff like that, and the whole idea was talk about a topic that you want to instruct other people on or want to explore a little bit in the class. And I forget who it was. I don't know if you guys were in my class or not, Jason and Max, but someone brought in their N64 and was like, okay, I need 3 volunteers, and they were instructing us how to play GoldenEye. And I think they got an A on that too. And I'm like, genius. Man, why did I have to work so hard on my assignment?
That's one of the most 90s things that you could ever say. And that's fantastic.
Just because it was okay. And then it went quiet for 20 minutes as it was just 4 people playing GoldenEye and the rest of the class is watching them.
Yep.
And the teacher was like, I forget who the teacher was, but they were just like, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I sucked at GoldenEye too. But for me, I wasn't the same as Max. Like same thing I have with Call of Duty, where I suck at Call of Duty. But my thing is, I want to keep playing until I win. I never win, so I never stop playing. I get addicted to the game because I can't do good. Like you should, when me and Tony play together, it's like, woohoo! I got to kill. Like it's a celebration. We pull out the cake. We get the streamers. It's a whole thing. But yeah,
nah,
I get it.
I'm not a controller thrower. I'm gonna just turn it off and walk away, guy.
Yep.
Like the rage builds up, and
Yep.
I can't do a goal.
It's a quiet rage because you recognize the dollar value of trashing a console.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
and my parents aren't replacing anything.
No, but I can apologize to my parents for cussing them out for no reason whatsoever. I just pulse and go, I'm sick of this now. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm like,
Now that we're all adults, it's like, do I want to take care of that filling or do I want to buy a new?
oh, I need my brakes, but this controller needs to get thrown right now.
Jason, what do you got at number 3?
First, let's read. Crusher's favorites are Aladdin for Zelda, Toe Jam
Oh,
and
Jam
Earl
and
for
Earl.
Sega, Mario 64, Pokemon Coliseum for GameCube, Harvest Moon 64, and Harvest Moon It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Aladdin is fantastic. I have it on my Switch.
Aladdin is
that
cool.
and The Lion King are two of the best Super Nintendo games. And,
Well, not the Lion King. Like, it's a fun game, but it's almost impossible to play. There's no way you can jump on like the ostrich and the giraffe head at the same time. That game is just almost impossible. It's like Battletoads. Like, you're not going to win this game.
Have you tried to suck less?
Zach, it took me 4 months. I got past that level you're talking about, and then I quit the game.
And also,
as soon as I beat that level, I quit the game. I was done.
Like it doesn't get any better than this. Yeah.
I have accomplished what I set out to
peaked.
accomplish.
Also, in The Lion King, you're just a lion. In Aladdin, you get to throw apples or something, right?
For Aladdin, I think my hardest part was getting out of the cave. Like isn't that like the very beginning? Like at the rest of the game is easy. Getting out of the cave.
Oh right, there's lava with the rug and
the rug. It's impossible. And then I'm like, no, I'm gonna stop playing this. I play Lion King, and I'm like, okay, who's making video games right now? Because these are not for children.
A sadist. Yes, it's a sadist.
Back in the day,
like, yes, this will drive them all insane.
God, there's so many games that I just hate because I can't win.
Oh, dude, the early era games, there are some like nigh impossible to beat.
Dude, Battletoads, F that game.
Battletoads. All right, sorry.
When my kids were little and they would complain that a game was hard, I'd make them play the Nintendo for like an hour, and then they would know what hard was all about.
Right. Yeah, like they did not care about your feelings back then. There was no easy mode for you to play on. Like just play the game.
It was memorization.
You want to get angry? Play Jurassic Park on SNES, where there's no saves, there's no continues. So we just had to leave our Super Nintendo on for 6 days while we tried to get those 100 eggs for no reason whatsoever. And my sister would come out and just turn the SNES off and to start over from scratch. Dude, games are.
Yeah, no, that's. Start a war. Turn off my console and see what happens.
Yep. I'm gonna kick your Legos. I'm gonna kick your Legos. That's it.
If you can't tell, we're working through childhood trauma with our video game experiences. My number 3 is going to be a controversial pick because it's the only one from this franchise that's on my top 5, and that is Super Mario Brothers 2. I love Super Mario Brothers 2.
Super Mario Brothers 2 is fun. It's not a Mario Brothers game, but it's fun.
Right.
I mean, if you like digging sand and picking up eggs, I guess it's a fun game. But that's it.
I like Seaman was my number 5, so I like weird stuff. So
No, it's definitely the acid trip of a Mario game.
Yeah.
You
put it on. Like,
wait, I knew you were gonna put that on here just because you love. You love Super Mario Brothers 2. Like you just this is like a warm little space in your heart for Super Mario Brothers 2 for some reason, Jason. I don't understand it.
It's like you put that game on, you're like,
people's heads and throwing them.
What's Birdo? Like what? Like wait, what is Birdo again? I'm sorry. Okay, it's a dragon that just shoots out its own eggs. I think.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, I guess at least it doesn't eat the eggs right in front of you. You know, like
no,
animals
it barfs
do
them.
things.
Just Mario projectile.
Mario 2 was the one where I found the warps without like using anything else to find, and that wasn't. It was easy once you knew where they were, but you had to try every single one of those down platforms until you eventually got it, throwing the potion. And I just love that game. I still play that game. I like Mario 3. Mario 3 is fantastic. Mario 1 is
I just
good.
like the way Luigi's legs kick really fast when he jumps in the air.
The Mario 2 from Japan, that game is the devil's game, and I can't even get past like 2 levels in that. Has anybody played the Lost Levels?
Yeah, no, it's not fun. It's just not fun.
I mean, like I liked Mario Brothers, but like I've never had the love for it where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back because like I think I've only beat Mario Brothers 3. Like I haven't even beat any of the other
Me
ones.
too.
I've only
You should watch Wizard. It'll show you how to beat that game.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. Good pull, Zach.
My number 3 is going to Smash Bros. This is one of the only video games where I remember the advertising like so vividly from right when it came out.
That was me with my number 1.
Great, just a great fighting game. It obviously, was the start of, just a long run of Smash Brothers games, but it's just one of the best in my opinion, and so much fun. Such a great idea to just take random Nintendo characters and throw them all in a game together. Star Fox is my guy. But yeah, Smash Bros. Number 3.
Nice. My number 3 is, oh man, I lost it for a second here. Oh man,
you need a handy dandy notebook.
Oh, Crazy Taxi. I was like, wait a minute, Crazy
I
Taxi's
just
my
played
number
that
3.
the other day. It's so much fun.
Crazy Taxi is such an addictive game.
It's the most 90s soundtrack ever. That and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like between those two, like, yeah. But Max is glitching. Anyways, but also I remember at the time I was learning how to drive too. So it was the perfect counterbalance to having to always be so reserved behind the actual wheel just to go buck wild with Crazy Taxi. So,
yeah.
Nice.
I
watch a show?
The Simpsons remake of that as well.
There's a show?
I feel like Crazy Taxi got a TV show 2 years ago, last year.
Okay, I'll check
Was
it out.
Anthony Mackie in it?
No, that was
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
Oh, that's Twisted Metal. Yeah. Never mind.
You got me excited, Zach. I'm like, what?
Take that out. Can you edit that out?
Anthony Mackie with like frosted green tips. I don't think they can get his hair to do that.
I would watch that show. I would absolutely watch that.
All right, Carissa, what's your number 2?
So this was a game I purchased with my favorite with my number 1 is Final Fantasy 7. I don't remember why I picked it. I was buying my number 1 game, and it was probably a poster with a giant sword, and I was like, okay. And I love that game. So
it's a Cloud, right?
Yep.
Cloud, yeah.
Cloud and Sid. And I think, is that the first time you see chocobos, right? Is that number 7?
Yeah,
that game.
Oh, the big chickens?
Yep. That game took too much of my life.
Yeah. It's the first game that, I mean, I think it was a lot. I don't even think I played the ones before it at all. But it was different. It was a different turnstile or something was different in it. That was like revolutionary or something. But
I feel like that was the first game that came on multiple discs, and you had to like put the first disc in to load stuff and then switched out with the second disc at some point. I remember thinking,
4 discs.
God, the future's here. 2 discs.
Yeah. That game took a lot of my life. So.
I just played that for the first time a couple of years ago on the PS5 with the remake, and you're right, it's an incredible game. The story is incredible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of those like special, like the Bahamut, like some of those like special like that. It was like a 3-minute sequence just to watch a dragon come from deep space to come down and like blast about. It's so cool.
Hey, that was like I said, I came from Coleco, Atari, and like Duck Hunt. So when it came to like the cut scenes, it was like the greatest thing of all time. Like
so
this
cool.
is like watching a movie. It was awesome.
Yeah, this is so real.
This is
Do this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Final Fantasy is great.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
Yeah, my number 2, I'm gonna have to throw up like an easy one, and I'm gonna say Star Fox. There was something so cool. I think Star Fox was the game that made me get the Rumble packs for the because I'm like, I should probably see what this is. There was something about that frog captain who just kept ribbiting at me that I'm gonna do it for you, my guy. Yeah, Star Fox was the first game that I actively tried to just beat because I wanted to be a good captain in this.
Do a barrel roll.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I was so good at barrel rolls. But no, that like there was something about that game that felt like I was literally flying through space, and I felt really cool playing it, and I really wanted to win that game. I remember that's the first game that I really wanted to beat the campaign. I really wanted to do a good job.
And I mean, the tank missions were awesome.
Yeah.
Friggin' yeah, the multiplayer.
Yep.
There was another like sneaky good multiplayer on that one. Yeah, no, Star Fox didn't make my list, but it was on the like honorable mentions just because.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be on my list, and I just kept thinking about games that I could not stop thinking about on N64, and Star Fox is on there, so I got to keep it real. That game was so cool.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. My number 2 is Bucky O'Hare for the NES. Me and my cousin Philip, who used to be one of the 3 geeks, used to play that all the time. We beat it. A lot of long hours, like Zach said, leaving the system on, praying that nobody turns it off or the power doesn't go out. Or there was levels in that game that was hard. It was Mega Man-esque in the sense that you'd beat a level and you'd get a friend that you could call in to help you out through the levels. And it's almost like Tiny Toons was like that too. And yeah. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's so expensive now. I do buy it and play it.
Cartoon rabbits are becoming a recurring thing for you, Jason.
Cartoon rabbits.
If you left your game on and you had to pause it, or like you had to leave to do something, whatever, and the power went out, it's not even like somebody turned it off. The power went off. That was like God was mad at you.
Yep.
Like that,
or he's telling you have a problem.
Yeah. It's
his business.
Tragic thing. You're just like, what? The universe is conspiring against me.
Yeah.
You're talking about I have a problem. I left the house. That's why. That's why it was fun.
I'm solving problems out there.
Oh my goodness. My number 2 is it shouldn't even be on my list. Should not be this high on my list. But StarCraft 64 is my number 2. It is the worst version of this game. Go find play it on the PC if you definitely want your full experience. But I played the crap out of this game. Me and one of my roommates, we would play StarCraft 64 for hours. It was ridiculous. Love that game.
Nice. I only played it on the PC, but I can imagine. I played Warcraft on PS1, and I can imagine that that's very similar experience.
Yeah, it's definitely that kind of crap experience.
My number 2, Sonic Adventure 2.
Nice.
That's the one he changed his shoes so he could grind on rails, and apparently, I guess. And of course, Shadow the Hedgehog, the edgiest edgelord ever in the early 2000s. So emo.
Yes.
But
so dark.
Keanu Reeves will do him justice in the new movie that's coming out. As someone I've been like, I like Sonic growing up, and these movies, I think they're perfectly fine, whatever, to introduce kids to the character if they don't already know who the characters are and stuff. But I'm like, Keanu Reeves as Shadow, that's actually inspired casting. I'm curious to hear. I mean, he sounds just like him, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I love that game. I loved how it suddenly took a really dark twist in this hedgehog's planning world domination because his loved ones were all killed. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, he might have been one of the first video game characters that I was thinking, this guy needs a friend.
It's like poor guy, poor emo hedgehog.
Man. A therapist.
He's just over there smoking cloves, just being by himself, all miserable. And I'm like, where's this guy's crew?
World's bullshit, man.
All right, here we go.
All right, Carissa, what's your number 1?
Everyone that knows me knows my number 1. So it is Resident Evil 2. It started because I saw the commercial with the alligator coming out of the sewer for Leon. I did not own PlayStation, so I had to go out and buy PlayStation and rent the game so that I could play it. It came with no instructions. I could not get the character to move at all. Through the controller, Leon kept walking into the fire. I was miserable. My brother comes in, starts playing it like there's no tomorrow, and I was like, get the hell out of my room. So I played it and I got obsessed with it. And for anyone that doesn't know, I role played as Claire Redfield for 15 years. And that is actually where this story was created. So if it wasn't for Resident Evil 2, or I guess if I want to give credit to my brother for driving me crazy enough to play it, then that. But when I went to go buy the game, I bought Final Fantasy 7 and Resident Evil 2, and I was so annoyed that there was an auto aim and then instructions that I was like, damn it. But yeah, Resident Evil 2, that's the best game.
That might be the best game. I agree. That game is so cool.
Like, your list, you've named multiple $100 games. Like now, so you have.
I have them all, man. I have them all. I have all their we didn't have Google, so I have all the guides and whatever. But I will say my honorable mentions are pretty much similar. Like I had Dino Crisis and Parasite Eve. Twisted Metal is thrown in there for some odd reason. But yeah, Dino Crisis whenever I watch Jurassic World, that Claire chick reminds me of the chick from Dino Crisis, the red hair and all that stuff. So yeah.
I would say outside of Metal Gear, when you had to swap the controllers, Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
I just started playing the remake of that.
Yeah, I think I own that on every system I've ever got. Like I just keep now I just buy them. Yeah,
I had people every time a new game came out, I had to buy a system for it. So Resident Evil 0 came out, so I bought GameCube. And then I had to buy them all for GameCube. And then Resident Evil 4 came out. So I bought PlayStation 2, I think it was on. And then I had to buy them all for whatever system I played. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 will always be. I don't care if there's a remake. I don't care about anything. Resident Evil 2, it is just my all-time favorite game. And if I can only play one game, that would have been it. And I played it every which way you can possibly play. And I'm still mad that Mr. X is sexist and only goes after Claire. So I don't know what's going on there. They changed it for the remake, which then got me more mad because I'm like, that's not fair. but yeah, Claire had to deal with the worst monster of all time. Just goes through walls, doesn't care about anything, just probably naked under the coat. I don't know what's going on there, but some flasher with this giant coat. But yeah,
do you still have those? Do you still have the GameCube Resident Evil games too?
I have them all. Yeah.
Well, good news is you have a small retirement plan in your video game collection.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You are set.
You're not doing bad. Especially if you have the instruction booklets. You're sitting on a pretty good collection there for sure.
Nice.
Kudos.
Nice. Awesome.
Good but I'm glad that you have it because that's you came up playing all of them. That's just so dope. And then you still have everything. I
was obsessed with anything Resident Evil, but my rule was it had to include one of the characters from Resident Evil 1. I didn't even play Resident Evil 1 until after Resident Evil 2. But if it didn't have one of the basics, either Leon, Claire, or one from the first one, I didn't include it. So, and I mean, Leon was my favorite. I had this made in Japan, this doll, and it was from some creator that didn't speak English. It was Japan. They didn't speak English. All I did was show. She only makes one, and that's it. She'll never make it again. So it was I remember it being $450, which it seems like a lot. All I know is I gave her a picture of my credit card number, and this came in the mail months later. So I have had it ever since then. So yeah,
that's cool.
There's a slight obsession there.
Nice.
So cool.
Yeah. Zach, what's your number one?
Yeah, without a doubt, the game that had that controller in my hands more than anything was straight up WCW NWO Revenge. I don't know why this game stuck in my brain. Watch those wrestlers come out of the back and be like, oh my God, it's so real. Just having Hogan bleed and Goldberg doing the spear. And you're like, oh, how do you do the spear? How do you do that? His drill thing. That game was mind blowing for me. And at the time, I think it was 1999 maybe or 2000 when that came out. But that game, I was a wrestling fan, so I knew all the moves of all the people, and there was just something special about how people walked down to the ring in that game that just put it in my brain. It lives rent-free in my brain all the time. And I think, why am I not playing WCW NWO Revenge right now? I think that all the time. So without a doubt, that is my number one game on probably my favorite system of all time.
You know, my favorite character out of that game was Shaman, because I had never heard of that dude. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, I'm right there with you. That was like the pinnacle of my wrestling, like watching and everything like that. But I'm like, I have no idea who this dude is. He's my guy. I would rock the Shaman all the time.
I didn't even like wrestling, and I loved that game. That game would be in my 5 too.
That game's so cool.
Oh no, that's dope. That's a great pick.
That's a good pick. My number one. So my favorite video game of all time is Donkey Kong Country. The reason I didn't pick the Super Nintendo is because I'd rather have a Nintendo with a huge library than have just Donkey Kong Country. But my number one game, which is my number 2 favorite game of all time, is Mega Man 2. It is. I know it's like the special needs Mega Man game. Like everybody can beat it, but I loved it, and I still do love it. Like whenever I want to live stress-free, or if I'm playing one of the new Mega Man games, because I always kid myself once every so often, I'll go back and play Mega Man 4 or 11, and I'll feel awful about myself because I can't beat a level. So I'll go back to Mega Man 2 where I can feel good about myself because I can beat this level. And
and two was the first one that you're like, I'm pretty sure, if I might be mistaken, but 2 was the first one where you actively could know what weapon was better for which bad guy. So you knew which order to, like, you're like, I got to go wood first because wood chops down the steel guy. Or is it, am I right about that or no?
Metal Man. You're thinking of Metal Man goes after wood, and then wood goes after T, I think.
Yeah, like the first one, I feel like you run through and you're cool and you're shooting your pellets and everything. The second one took a little bit of thought, and you're like, well, if I beat this guy, that weapon is actually better for this guy. So Mega Man 2 is a really dope game.
I can't even get through halfway through one of the levels on Mega Man 1. That game is so stupid and hard.
I love Mega Man, and it hates me so much.
Me too, man.
I cannot.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I picked up like Mega Man X. I'm like, yeah, I used to beat the shit out of these games. Why not? And then I started playing. I'm like, wait a minute, I might be too old right now.
Bro,
like, this is just a little bit too hard.
The new Mega Man on the Switch, like, what is it, 11?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, they make games so you can beat them now. Maybe I will be able to beat this Mega Man game. No. I was wrong.
Mega Man don't play.
No, not at all. I did love the Battle Network games on the Game Boy Advance, but Mega Man is such a just like I get nothing back from Mega Man. It's just me being like, please, I love you, just let me win. Yep. Mega Man's like, no, you're not good enough.
Yeah, just throwing my timer in the trash.
My number one is surprise, Mario Kart. Mario Kart 64 was just because I played Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, and that was such a crap racing game. For Mario Kart 64 to just take everything like into the third dimension, turn everything around, like it is so good. I've put so many hours into that game, like it is not even countable. Like I know I'm 40 years old. I think maybe half of that time I spent playing Mario Kart.
It was the ultimate freshman dorm pre-game game for us. That was for sure.
Yeah, it's a good pick, man.
Yeah, 100%.
And I love watching you own people at the conventions. It's
I know that used to be the highlight of a convention for you, was just to see Max either like just absolutely
win all the time.
Just win. Yeah.
Are you a Rainbow Road jumper? Are you that guy?
Yeah. No, I'm like I can run the whole race if you want to do that. But I mean, if I will take a third of the time to do the races.
Oh, yeah.
But and I don't mind playing it straight up, and that's like I'll still win. Like it doesn't matter. But like I love that you could accidentally fall off of Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Like that's just one of the greatest things ever. But yeah, no, Mario Kart, number one game, my favorite game, hands down.
So good.
My number one for the Dreamcast was Shenmue, and it was this crime drama role play in real time because it had a day-night cycle thing, which was new to me at the time. And yeah,
like Countdown.
Yeah, a little bit, pretty much. And I think there was kind of like you had to finish things up in a certain time frame too. But I didn't get that, and the game really didn't give you any hints as to what to do except solve your dad's murder.
Yeah, I failed miserably on Countdown. Everything blew up. So.
Yeah,
I couldn't get out of the cellar, man. I don't know what to tell you.
They gave you too much stuff to do in the interim though, because you're wandering around this small village or this small city for a while, and you just do extra stuff. I'm like, I'm in no rush. I literally at one point in the game, you get a job down at the docks working a forklift, and I just committed to that bit. For a good amount. Like, you're supposed to be picking up clues and stuff while you're down there. I'm like, no, I got a quota to meet. I'm like,
these orders aren't going to ship themselves. Like,
yeah, I know. Someone's not going to get their packaged goods.
Oh my goodness, you're the reason they do like farm truck simulator.
Exactly, I'm that demographic. But the other reason,
my husband wants a lawn mowing game. I'm like, you just mowed the lawn outside. Like, what do you need it for?
I wake up and do lawnmower simulators because I'm like, I gotta call before I go to work.
That's what he wants. He wants a lawnmower simulator. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
really?
I'll take on 3 jobs before I get to work.
Yeah,
I caught my son playing Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Play something where you murder somebody or go power wash the house. You either do one or the other.
Actually, they did that on The Simpsons, where the kids didn't want to do yard work.
I just saw that episode today, the carnival one.
And then they're like, I want to do the virtual yard work. She's like, what?
When I ask you to do yard work,
yeah.
No, but I did like just doing trivial stuff in that game. I did ultimately like resolve everything and, end the game. But that's the frustrating part, is because the sequel did come out on Dreamcast, but was in Japan only, and then eventually made it over to Xbox, which was a system I didn't have for a long time. And then the third sequel was like crowdfunded and barely got any, and so it's left on a cliffhanger. The Shenmue saga is just left on this cliffhanger, and I'm frustrated by that. So I love it and I hate it at the same time.
We'll get you some therapy.
For the Dreamcast.
After this, I'm gonna go look through my games and see what the hell I got.
Just from
honestly,
you've got gold.
I gotta fund my comic.
Got gold. For sure.
I'll take them out to like sell them, and I was like, I'll play it one last time, and like 3 years later, like, what was I gonna do with these?
Play them.
You're just caught right back up into it.
Yeah, gotta play.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I have not been without an N64 since the N64 came out. Like I don't have my original one, but I've always had one. Yeah, so I mean it's I don't, I'm gonna get buried at that thing.
I'll make sure that happens.
Actually, I want the Viking burial though, but like put the N64 in the boat.
I just like that Jason is so assured that he's like, you're going first.
Yeah,
I said I fixed it, and if I die first, Max, I want buried with my Blu-ray collection. So.
There's not enough room in the like, you know how big of a hole we'd have to dig for your freaking Blu-ray collection.
I could have been greedy and said my VHS and DVD collection. I didn't.
My goodness, we gotta dig a hole like 35 feet deep just to bury Jason in all of his collections.
It's funny.
If I get buried with Resident Evil 2, I can't tell anyone because they'll just dig it up later.
They're coming for it for sure.
It's worth like a couple million. They'll be like, dig it up.
Yeah,
it'll be like
Max
that.
Was over the other day and he saw my Disney VHS collection. He goes, "That's so stupid." And then as we're walking upstairs, he goes, "I know what I just said, but I really want to sit down and watch them." Like,
it's the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, this is dumb. But like, I made it like 4 steps up, and I was like, I want to watch 4 of those movies on VHS right now.
You guys just gave me an idea for my tombstone. It's going to be like a riddle, like a code, like when you play Resident Evil and you have to like do one of the codes thing. I'm gonna have something from Resident Evil 2 that if you played Resident Evil 2, you could see what it says.
Nice,
so funny.
Yeah, no, I'm so down for that. Like that.
Yeah, I collected as many VHS as possible, and people will come in and they'll look at it and they go, "You own all the Disney movies on VHS?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." And they're like, "Same thing as like that's dumb." And I'm like, "Whatever." And then they say immediately, "Can we watch Return to Jafar?" I'm like, oh yeah, boy.
Not even like one of the theatrically released, like the sequel with Homer Simpson as a genie.
Honestly, people ask for 2 movies: Cinderella 3 which is a great movie, by the way.
It is not bad.
Which is not that good, but he's sexy in it. So
I mean, everything from back in the day is so much better. I went to the theater and paid full price to see The Mummy in the theater like last week, and I don't regret a penny of it.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, how is this movie still hold up, and how is it better than anything I've seen in the last decade? Like, I'm like,
that was the Fraser one, right? The Brendan Fraser one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's why. The Frasier.
Man, that was one of my favorite movies. Like, it's my desert movie or island movie or whatever, but I could watch it nonstop. I watched that movie. Yeah, like when I was watching it, I had to go to the bathroom. I was like, what part would I even go to the bathroom on? Like, I don't even know. My husband's like, you've seen it like 18 times. It's like, I don't care. Like, it's just like, I'm like, pause it for a minute to go to the bathroom.
That's me for every time they re-release Jurassic Park. Like, even though I own
That's
like the
my
Blu-ray,
husband for Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll go to the theater for it.
There's a picture of him as a kid with the Jurassic Park, all the get up at the movie theater with his little flag thing. So yeah, I did him young. So
you mentioned Cinderella, so I just have to take this time for a quick maniac minute. On Netflix, there's a show called The Grimm Variations where they tell like all the old Grimm fairy tales with like this weird anime twist.
Yeah,
the Cinderella one is by far the best one. Unfortunately, it's the first one. I haven't even made it through all of them, and I have not liked any of the other little stories that they do as much as
the cartoon.
So it's an anime.
The Red Riding Hood one was tough to get through. I'm like,
wait, that was so weird.
This?
yeah, dude. Like, I don't.
I obviously have to watch this now.
So.
That was weird.
The Red Riding Hood one.
I'm like, wait. So I'm like, is he the wolf or is she the wolf?
Yeah.
Wait, they're both AI. Okay, but one of them is a wolf, I think. Watching that episode just broke my brain. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. Is it like a new animation? I try to watch the new Watership Down. I was like, they all look the same. They have no personality. I watched the Watership Down when I was like 6. That was my favorite movie back then.
And there's shorts, because it's like each story is its own kind of episode, so it's not hard to get through. I don't think.
No, except that one.
But the Little Red Riding Hood on Red.
I will be watching it tomorrow.
Just weird.
I was like, he's sexy. Wait, no, he's
this is yeah.
You just make me want to watch it more.
I'll watch it again. I don't
want the Cinderella one to me is so good.
Is it like twists? Like, is it like twist that we don't know, or is it the original Grimm?
No, it's twist that we don't know. Yeah.
Oh, it's so twisty.
New.
Yeah. I have all the books for the original. I know the original story.
Yeah, like if you've seen Cinderella 3, you need to watch it because, if you're into Cinderella enough to watch Cinderella 3, then
Jason, can we please review Cinderella 3? I know you probably have it.
I'm not even hating on.
I'm not. It is Back to the Future 2 of the Cinderella saga.
No, it's this was so I just had
so much fun. Time travel.
You're saying that's the best of the 3?
It's called the Grimm Variations.
The Grimm Variations.
I'll check it out.
And I haven't even watched all of them yet, but so even if you're just gonna watch one, watch the Cinderella one. If you're gonna watch
I was flipping through Netflix. Yeah, I was flipping through Netflix, and that came up. But the one that showed me was the Red Riding Hood, and I'm like, what am I looking at? And then I put it on. I was like, wait, that's episode 4. What is this show? And then I watched all of it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is twisty. This is twisty.
Yeah, Hansel and Gretel is kind of meh. It's a little mid. It's not really bad or good. Red Riding Hood is just
bonkers,
weird, and not in a good way. Like, it just gives you a kind of creepy feeling at the end of it.
Yeah, the whole time you're like, what is that? What are we doing?
Yeah, and not creepy in a good way. Like creepy, like you are a creep.
I'll feel guilty for watching it.
It starts off creepy in a good way, and then it gets into creepy in a very weird way.
Yeah, it's
as in you're on a list now because you saw that episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
If you say that you like that episode, you are on a list of something.
That is a red flag. So if you 100%. Watch it and someone is like, oh man, the Red Riding Hood one is the best one, you're like, okay,
I'm not talking. You know what, James Franco? Get out of my face.
Yes.
Well, that's a perfect note to end it on.
Gotta call back.
Corissa, Everybody, you guys can check out Chris's Kickstarter, Worthy Chaos. It is in the comments down below.
You can just search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter. We're the only thing that pops up.
Nice. Where can everybody find you online?
Oh, sorry, I was looking up Grim Tales. Yeah, you can. We have a Facebook group and Worthy Chaos. Where just search Worthy Chaos pretty much anywhere, and you'll find us. Or you can add me, Corissa Grant, on Facebook. I'm the kind that gets kidnapped as a kid. I talk to anyone that talks to me, so you can add me on there. And yeah, I'll probably be busy for the next week. I got the Dark Grim thing here, and then I got my games I gotta play. But you can go ahead and add me, and I'll get to you soon.
We just gave you more stuff to do.
Yeah.
On top of the stuff you already have to do.
Tomorrow's Mother's Day, and I don't have kids. I have cats, but for some reason that allows me to do whatever I want. So I'm going to be watching these, a really bad shark movie called Sharkula, and playing my games. So,
if you want a really good bad shark movie, watch Side of the Moon. Shark Side of the Moon is the craziest thing. For some reason, these Russian scientists put sharks on the moon, and then they have like legs and they have sexy bodies for some reason. And then the people on the moon, there's 2 humans on there. They don't need space masks at all. They just live on there because they have like this Shark Side of the Moon, not the dumb one on Disney, the real one that's by Robin House, I think.
Oh, and side note to Jason, when you said, I think you said how many podcasts I've been on since all of last year. Since then, I've been on 224.
You've been on more podcasts than me.
Yeah. So I think I got a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
But anyone can find me.
I was about to say.
Yeah, 8:00 Eastern PM Mondays on my Facebook and my YouTube. We talk about bad shark movies and bad movies and good movies and whatever, so you can come on, and you guys are always welcome on. I let people, it's just characters hanging out. We're just idiots rambling on for about
I watch all the bad shark movies.
Awesome.
I love bad shark movies, like 2-headed shark, 3-headed shark. They skipped 2, I think, and went straight to 3. I love them all.
So far, Ghost
Shark.
There's Ghost Shark. There's Trailer Park Shark. There's
Corn Shark.
I haven't watched
Trailer Park Shark.
I love Trailer Park Shark.
We interviewed 2 of the actors from that.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
It switches from the left to the right for some reason. Like it's just like randomly his burn mark will switch over. Doll Shark and Doll Shark was so funny. It's a stuffed shark. And one of the funniest scenes of the whole thing is the father who sent him the doll shark says, I wonder if he got the toy, while he's looking in his wallet of a picture of him holding the toy. So he's like, I wonder if he got the toy. And then you find out that in the next scene, that was just a still of that scene coming up. So that was the picture that they decided to use, and they used it with the shark in it. So I don't know. Yeah, bad shark movies before.
I have all the Sharknadoes on Blu-ray, so I also like awful shark movies. I'm going to check out Shark Side of the Moon or whatever it's called. I can't wait to check it out. Reach out to me. I'll be on your shark show anytime.
Yeah, guys, come on. Yeah, you have to come on and talk. We're definitely.
Guys, at Some Nobodies, tell them to get back to work and back on YouTube, because these guys
not even get back to work, just release something for us.
Yeah, release.
Yeah, we'll just hoard all your awesome content for yourselves.
It's too good to put out there. But if you do want to hear my voice, I actually am a voice actor on one of Jack Billings' projects called Haunted Apartment Complex. I play Adam Lynch, the ghost butt stabber. I'm a ghost, and I just want to stab butts. I kind of channel Mark Hamill's Skeletor as the voice.
Okay.
Anything Jack Billings does, especially Haunted Apartment Complex, please check that out. That guy is too funny. He's better than we are, and I keep asking him to be in more stuff. So Jack Billings, best stuff ever.
Awesome. Mike, where can everybody find you?
YouTube. Mike McGee TV. I make short films. I'll probably make a short film sometime. At some point, it just depends. Whenever I feel like the mood.
Excellent podcasts.
We'll talk about Batman again sometime, Max. I'm sure.
Full price for late pizza.
Oh yeah, I need to start doing those too.
Yeah, this excellent content. The Emoji Movie video is still my favorite.
Again with that video. Jeez.
Me too, Max.
So
brilliant,
it's
brilliant,
so
guys. Go. just go check it out. Check all of Mike's work out. His short form films are awesome as well. Guys, we hit 21,000 views in 28 days. We did that last night. So congratulations. Justin, thank you so much for all the help. Matt Talk, one episode of Matt Talk reached 5,000 views. So thank you to all my senior citizen fans. I love you all. I was about to
say, like, yeah, that's a lot of
glad you're all still with us.
Yeah. Milk of magnesia.
Wow.
But we'll be back next Saturday at 7 p.m., guys. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.